Hey guys, it's Joseph, and today we're going to be going through the top 5 worst zombie maps from World at War to Black Ops 3. There have been some real shockers from Treyarch, but in my opinion, these are the worst of the lot. Some of the choices may be a bit controversial, so if you disagree, don't be afraid to let me know why down in the comments. Coming in at number 5, we have No4 and yes, I already hear you all now, it was the first map, cut it some slack, but objectively speaking, it's just not that great. Specifically the Black Ops 1 version. You load it in with Mule Kick in the box, that's it. You can get the Thunder Gun and Ray Gun, but you're out of ammo by round 30, and from then on you'll be stuck trying to swap the wonder weapons out and get them back from the box for more ammo just to eke out a few more levels, and that's if you weren't already sent out of the game by the 2-hit down system in Black Ops 1. Black Ops 3's version is not that bad. You at least have some perks and some gobblegums that you can use, but for the most part you'll be having some trouble getting through the rounds if you don't have any good mega gobblegums. Coming in at number 4, we have Die Rise. Now when Die Rise first released, hear me out. I enjoyed it, okay? I won't lie. I had a PS3, so I had to wait 3 months for this map to come out after Black Ops 2's release, and at that point, anything looked great compared to Transit. But as with most things new, those rose-colored glasses tend to fade. Maps like Mob of the Dead and Origins had released, and all the flaws of Die Rise came pouring in. Teasing PhD Flopper, not coming through with it, and still leaving in all this fall damage. Those pink pillows barely did anything for us but indicate where to go, and that's if you were able to see them in this mess of a map. We have the overused Nova Crawlers, or the Jumping Jacks as they're called in this map. Like fair play, you gave them a new trait to jump around towards you in a frenzy. But could you not have designed a new zombie boss just with that purpose? Or was Treyarch too afraid of using something new after the backlash from the denizens in Transit? The 3 box locations are only in spots where no casual player would be heading to normally. 2 of which are close together, and 2 of them are in spots that are way too tight just to pass by and open as you train the zombies. It's just an unnecessary pain. Not being able to hold multiple parts in solo is just such an inconvenience. Mob of the Dead had immediately improved on that, but it's just too bad that the devs didn't think of it for such a large map as Die Rise 2. Of course there's the part switching glitch that you can do, but we're lucky that's even there in the first place. Imagine having to wait for that quick revive elevator for each part if that wasn't the case. The bank system was also brought back in the map, and let me say this, the best 2 maps on Black Ops 2 didn't even have the bank. Transit and Die Rise did. Think about that. You can just set up on round 1, have everything you need. It wasn't like the challenge of Black Ops 1, where your damage and perks grow with you, as the rounds do, while you're hoarding up zombies and buying upgrades for yourself. On Die Rise, you can have all of that in the palms of your hands, 10 minutes into the game. It takes the fun out of the map and makes the map feel tedious if you don't use it, as you're already used to having all the power straight away. Just not a great map in my opinion. This map's only saving graces are the Sleequifier, which was patched so it makes crawlers past around 100, and the open rooms that you could train in. The A94 as well, I suppose. Now, who's who? One of the worst perks we've ever been given to use. Imagine downing in solo, being able to revive yourself and not wasting one of your 3 quick revives. Sounds nice, right? Well, when you're down with Who's Who, you could do exactly that, but you would often be spawned in weird locations, and a lot of the time the zombies would still be hovering around your body. Not to mention, all you're about to try and revive yourself with is the starting pistol, and if you go down while trying to revive yourself, that's it. Game over. But don't worry if you fall off the map with it too. You're revived in the spawn room with just the starting pistol. Lovely. Yes, no matter what round you're on, that's all you're given. What a joke. It's just a waste of a perk slot on this map, taking up one of these randomized perk elevators which also change every game. It's just another extra pain no one wants to deal with. Coming in at number 3, we have Nuketown Zombies. Unless you spent extra and pre-ordered this game, you'd have to pay a few extra dollars for this map at launch, and you'd be hard struck to go through the extra effort when a great bare bones map like Town comes as an on-disc map. It's just silly. Perks and Pack-a-Punch aren't available to you right away. Perks spawn in as you progress through the rounds with your last perk or Pack-a-Punch machine spawning in the early round 20s, which could potentially be Jug if you're unlucky. So your best bet is either to restart the game and try and get it early, or train in the backyards of either house. But even then it can get a bit tricky without Jug as you have walking zombies at every round in Black Ops 2, which could get in your way and down you in training. It just wasn't worth the extra expense so early on after the game's release. Coming in at number 2, a bit controversial here. Revelations. How can you use an amalgamation of some of the best maps to ever be released, and end up with a creation that just feels bland? So what was reused in this map? No4 Origins, Mob of the Dead, Verrückt, King of the Toten, the Reisendrache, Shangri-La, the Wonder Weapons, the Dragon Shield? Seriously. I understand in the story that the universe has been fractured, but gameplay-wise, it's just stuff we've already seen. There hasn't been much innovation in this map, especially when a great map like Gorod Krovi came out just before it. The Mark III, the Iron Gauntlet, the bosses, the Dragon Shield, and a unique map design. The only things new in this map, the spawn room, inside the Apothicon, the Furies, and I guess you can count the Elemental Margwas too, but they just feel more like a rehash of the original Margwa. Especially we can use the Thunder Gun to obliterate them as if they weren't on the map to begin with. Don't get me wrong, the Thunder Gun was nice to see again, but now that we had an arsenal of wonder weapons at our fingertips, it just felt a bit too easy. The Apothicon Servant was brought back, and now with a legitimate way of pack-a-punching it. The Thundergun, the Ragnaroks, the Little Arnies. Once you're set up with all of these, there's no easy way to go down. You can go until your ammo runs out. Even then, it'll be close to around 100 if you can cycle your alchemical gobblegums over and over again, plus the max ammo rounds. The terrifying Panzer Soldats from Origins were brought back too. Remember round 8 on Origins? If you didn't have a staff or the Pack Boom Hilda, then you had to just grab an MP40 and hope for the best. But now with the Thundergun, not even the strongest wonder weapon on this map, it can take down the Panzer in 4 easy shots. It takes as what is meant to be a difficult and challenging boss into an extra free power-up every few rounds. Speaking of Origins, how could they let Black Ops 3's main DLC be a letdown in comparison to what Black Ops 2 left us with? Origins was a great map that had its own set of wonder weapons, which each had their own unique ways of getting them, and various steps to upgrade them. It was different from what we had been given before. In Revelations, where you just spun the box and hoped for the best, it just made Revelations all the more underwhelming. And last but not least, coming in at number 1, the worst map, we all know what it is. It's Transit. Transit was not enjoyable by any means. I'm sure most people agree by now. It was harsh for new players to learn. You couldn't hold more than 1 part per person, meaning many trips around the map. You had to choose between the turbine and the shield to hold in the early rounds, especially when you needed them both. I'm glad they fixed that up in other maps. If you were a new player, you'd have a hard time traversing through the fog when trying to run in between the sections of the map, because we've all been left behind by the bus before. Denizens scattering around before they start leaping towards you, then slowing you down as you try to knife them off, the lava pits that you'd have to jump over and hope not to die by, all while zombies are spawning in, surrounding you, and you can't see any of them until they get too close because of that damn fog. Have you ever tried the jet gun? The weapon that sucks you towards the horde you're trying to kill? The weapon that slows you down heaps while holding it out to let it cool down? The weapon that breaks when you use it too much? Where if the parts touch the lava, you have to go back to where you initially got them from, just to get the parts to rebuild it. On top of that, if the bus somehow ran over it, the parts are lost forever, meaning no more jet gun. And in public games, you built the jet gun in town, so most people would use it there. Had some great training spots, jug and stamina up as well. And town was also covered in lava, so if they potentially broke the jet gun, it means the part would be lost and it'd have to be picked up all over again. In my opinion, it's the worst wonder weapon ever released, with Transit being the worst main on-disc map being released. Alright, that's it for this video. If you agree or disagree with anything, let me know down in the comments. Laters.